Welcome to the Progress Report, a program where we look at highlighting the investment climate here in Guyana. In this episode, we speak with President of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Timothy Tucker, to have an understanding of GCCI's role in business development here in Guyana. Mr. Tucker, from your perspective, how have you seen businesses develop and thrive in the year 2022?
Companies have been thriving this year. We've seen Guyana grow, the projections are 50-something, over 50% growth. I think that they even have an issue where companies can't actually operate as fast as the country is growing. So you have exponential growth leading in all sectors because even the non-oil sectors have been really growing. Our end of GCCI's Gala report showed that non-oil sector grew by 9.6%. So the economy is growing even outside the oil and gas. And of course, oil and gas, now you're looking at, with oil and gas added in, it's over 56% growth in the economy. So, construction sector, oil and gas sector, agriculture, everything is just booming in Guyana this time. We've seen the local private sector struggle to keep up with the pace of the economy. That's why you see government pushing for foreign investors to come. So you have that opportunity to be part of the growth, and you say, well, how long can we sustain growth like this? But you have to remember that we're coming from a place where we were underdeveloped, and we're going to what developed countries produce. So in the last 2 years, we've seen maybe growth that is equivalent to maybe 5 years of growth under normal circumstances. So and we're playing about a 15-year catch-up in the game. So Guyana's probably about 15 years behind. But of course, within the last 2 years, we're now about 10 years behind. But it just shows you the kind of growth that needs to happen within the next 3 years. So that's why you see Guyana, the economy is just booming.
Yeah. You mentioned some of the sectors that you've seen thrive and develop over the last year: construction, tourism. Tell me a little bit more about those sectors and how you've seen those sectors thrive, and why really have those sectors been able to flourish?
Well, you've seen construction. Anything that relates to construction is booming because you're building out infrastructure. Whether you're building out infrastructure for the agriculture industry, for tourism, because tourism is booming, the oil and gas industry, the demands with local content coming into play, more services have to be done in country, more Guyanese are participating, so that means more infrastructure projects. The hotel industry, we've seen Cricket Carnival, we've seen all the different events, the Ghana Basin Summit, we've seen the International Energy Conference, we've seen Carnival, we've seen so many things going on in Guyana, and the diaspora in the world is coming. So the hospitality, hotel industry, build out of more than 10 new hotels, so massive amounts of work there. Then we've seen agriculture industry. So you've seen a new soya and corn and soya estate projects. So then you see the infrastructure to get to those remote locations, the build out of that. So again, the Linden to Mabura Road, and then of course you're now looking at the projects that are taking place between Linden to Lethem, all the bridges, of course the new Demerara Harbour Bridge. You're looking at all the other road projects, the expansion of the road networks. So you've seen massive infrastructure. Then of course the electricity build out. Then we'll also look at the housing sector. Massive works in the housing sector, both government and private sector housing, apartment buildings, the services sector. Because of course with the build out of all these things, there's an increased demand for services. So almost every sector is also building on top of what is being done in Guyana.
Now, as president of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, I know GCCI has been doing a lot in terms of assisting businesses. What are some of the projects that GCCI would have embarked on to assist businesses in their development here in the Guyanese economy?
Yeah, so GCCI, we have 12 subcommittees, and those subcommittees work in tandem with the government agencies, with other private sector organizations, non-governmental organizations for the development of the private sector and our members. So we have webinars, seminars, workshops. We just recently had, in November, we had our Business Development Forum, which was a 2-day conference where we dealt with about 5 different thematic areas, bringing institutions, academia, and of course, private sector, real private sector players to discuss different areas that are pertinent topics that are relevant to the growth and the development of our local private sector. You've seen the GCCI lobby tremendously over the last 4 years for local content, and we have been integral in working with the local content secretariat for the development of locals, and of course for the expansion of the areas that have been carved out for locals. We're looking at capacity. We've done internal surveys within our membership and the wider private sector on things from access to finance, local content, the economy, how business is doing, because we want to keep our hand on the pulse. We want to make sure we always there understanding the needs of our members and the wider business community so that we can work to really grow. So we're looking, we have a massive, we started in 2022, GCCI have put together an agriculture subcommittee, which is the first time the chamber has gone into dealt with agriculture. And we've worked with IFAD, the World WASCO, which is one of the Canadian universities that deal with agriculture. We've done work with FAO, Ministry of Agriculture, NARI, all the different agencies. First time they were actually, the GCCI was actually able to put everybody together and say, listen, let's work together. We went out and we met with the farmers. We trained 160 farmers in Region 6. There's a whole host of training scheduled in at least 5 other regions in 2023. Really to get the farmers to understand that agriculture is not just the old way of doing agriculture. We know in Guyana, we've now internationalized our economy.
Now, what advice, Mr. Tucker, would you give to foreign investors who may be contemplating the idea of coming to Guyana to invest and set up shop? What would be your advice to them?
Like any prime investor, you have to act fast and act quick, right? It's all about returns, right? So the optimum time is to get into the market before it becomes too high, it locks you out. The best time to invest in Guyana was probably 2 years ago, right? If you're coming now, you're late, but the opportunities are still there, because in 2 years, 3 years from now, you probably would not be able to afford to invest in Guyana. It would be so costly to invest in Guyana. So the idea is to get into the market now, and importantly, right, investing in any country is you have to do your research, but you also have to come to organizations like the GCCI, the Private Sector Commission, like the regional chambers if you want to invest in Berbice, in Linden, in Lethem, because everywhere in this country, over the next 3 years, will be developed and developed at a fast rate. I mean, looking at the Quarantine River Bridge, so Berbice opens up with the Deepwater Harbor. You're looking at Linden with the road to Mabura, with all of the activities in the agriculture activities in Linden, Essequibo, which is Region 2, the Essequibo Coast. There's a lot of development going on there with the opening up of all the agricultural lands in the Pomeroon throughout the coast. And then Region 3, exponential growth. That's going to be the fastest growing part of Guyana. And of course, not forgetting Lethem. With the road to Brazil about to be done, I mean, the commitment is there. A portion of the road is being constructed as we speak. It looks at the opportunities for investments are all over the country, and the best time to do it is today or yesterday.